Today, we're going to be looking at one of the most prominent free chatbots out there and whether it's worth even using, even though it's free. I'm talking about Meta.ai. So let's jump in and see if it's actually useful, especially for authors who want to use it for writing purposes. So here we have the chat interface. You can find this at Meta.ai. It's also heavily integrated into Meta's products out there. So you can find it in they have a dedicated app for it, but there's also, you can find it in WhatsApp, the Facebook app, the Facebook Messenger app. It's everywhere. And right off the bat, you can tell that this has a slightly different focus from a lot of the other chatbots on there, and that is for social interaction. In fact, if you come here to the Discover tab or just scroll down, you'll see a bunch of stuff that people have made using Meta's different AI, right? So you can see the different images because there is an image generator. I wouldn't say the images are particularly groundbreaking here. They kind of give me Midjourney vibes, but from several versions ago. There's a kind of nice aesthetic for some of them, but a lot of them look a little bit plasticky and artificial and so forth. But despite there are a lot of options here that you would find in a normal chatbot, surprisingly, there is an advanced voice feature. I know this is important to a lot of people out there, including myself, having someone that I could just talk to and get ideas, bounce ideas off of, like my own personal Jarvis. And I've used this one in the past. I even did a video comparing it to others like way back when, and not much has changed since then. But I have found that the advanced voice mode here is not as advanced as it is in, say, ChatGPT or Perplexity. It doesn't shift the way it talks if you ask it to. It just kind of keeps to a single monotone sort of voice, but it does use the Llama models, and you can interact with it, you can brainstorm, you can use it in that way. And all of this is free. Everything you see here in Meta.ai is free, with a caveat, of course, as pretty much everyone knows at this point. If something is free, then it is not the product, you are the product. So Meta is definitely gathering information. They're probably using your prompts to train their models on and stuff like that, which, that doesn't bother me because I have nothing to hide and I know how AI works. And I know that if something's trained on my work, it doesn't actually do much and I have nothing to fear from that. But if that is a problem for you, that is something that it does. What is a bigger problem for me is that it is probably gathering more information about what I like and things like that. So it can manipulate me better, basically. So the algorithm can manipulate me better. Thankfully, I have a whole bunch of plugins and stuff that kind of stop me from seeing a lot of ads on Facebook, and I deleted all of the apps from my phone. The only Facebook product that I still use regularly these days is the Facebook Messenger app, so I can communicate with certain people. But yeah, that's something to keep in mind. So let's actually go through the different features and see how it measures up to other premium paid apps. First of all, you got your standard stuff, advanced voice mode we talked about. You can attach different files. You can even attach video and edit it inside of here, which is a surprisingly advanced feature for something that is free. Again, it's not really something that's really amazing, but it can create some just like fun, quirky little things that you might want to share on social media. Like if you say you have a video of you in a wedding dress and you want to add wings to your wedding dress or something like that, you can do little cute things like that. Not something that anybody who's actually trying to use these tools in a serious sense would actually use. And that kind of is my overall thoughts on Meta.ai in general. First of all, they're running on Meta's Llama models, which aren't bad models, but the vanilla versions of them are not particularly good. If they've been fine-tuned for certain specific use cases, they can be. That's one of the biggest advantages of the Llama models, is that they are open source, so people can take them and improve on them. But clearly, the kind that we have here in Meta's own AI is going to be the vanilla version, or at least one that has been fine-tuned by Meta themselves for chat and for conversation. So it is kind of cool that you can upload videos and stuff like that, but there's not much there that I would say is something that you would actually use as a creator, more just as a social media user. You do have Canvas, which is something where you can create docs and images and stuff like in a document inside of Meta, which most chatbots have a feature like that. It's not one that I actually use that much, surprisingly. And then of course you have the image generator. Now, one kind of cool thing about the image generator is that you can actually create short videos after you've made the image. So let's say I want to say a cat dressed up as Robin Hood. So it gave us a bunch of images, and these aren't too bad, honestly, as images go. Again, they're kind of giving me old version of Midjourney vibes. I think the best one, the bow is a little messed up in places. This one kind of works, but I think this one here, this first one, is probably the best one. So you can edit it and, ask for what you want to change, or you can animate it. So if we animate it, it'll make this into a short video. I will say, given the quality of this, that the image generator in Meta might be one of the best free options out there. It's certainly not as good as the heavy hitters in image generation, but it is pretty good for free, right? Although it does have a little bit of a watermark here in the corner, which you could probably easily edit out. But yeah, here we have a short video of this cat. Now, if we wanted to, I think we could describe a cat takes an arrow out of its quiver and fires it. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to see. Yeah, so it didn't really listen to my prompt at all. It just gave me another animation of the cat just as Robin Hood. Also, this is pretty low quality, so if you wanted to use this in anything serious, you would have to get an image upscale or a video upscaler to do it for you. So let's talk about how it is for writing. Now, in this case, we are limited on the models that we're using, which are the Llama models. And the Llama models are considered to be like okay, but nowhere near the quality that you'll get from the heavy hitters like Claude or the GPT models or the O3 models or the Gemini 2.5 models. Those are all going to be better for writing than Llama. Now, I'm not trying to review the models here. I'm just looking at the chatbot itself, but it is kind of like you have to keep the models in mind just because they are such a big part of why we use something. But I'm really trying to just focus on the actual features of the chatbot itself. But it is just worth noting that we are limited to those Llama models, which right now are not too powerful, and that will change with time. But for now, it is what it is. Now, even though it has pretty good image generation and, not super advanced, but a somewhat decent talking mode, advanced voice mode. One thing that I noticed that I'm not able to do is have a project. So anything like a GPT or Claude projects or something like that, where I can give it custom instructions for that thing. Very, very useful from a productivity perspective. And it's been in pretty much all of the chatbots that I've reviewed so far, except for Meta. And that's for me is a big, big downside that I don't see that, because I use projects all the time in all of the chatbots that I've used in the past. I use projects in them. Perplexity has it, Mistral has it, even OpenRouter, you can create something similar to it, but Meta just does not have that feature. So that is a big bummer. So all in all, I don't actually have that much to say about this chatbot because it has some good things going for it. Notably, it is free. And that is the big thing. If you cannot afford to use AI in any other circumstance, whether using it pay as you go in a service like OpenRouter or using it, spending $20 for a decent chatbot out there or $15 for Mistral, then Meta is your go-to because it can do a lot of the same things, but it is completely free. I understand they might be doing a premium tier at some point, but I don't know. Facebook has always been, all about the free, right? And collecting data. That's what they do. So I don't know how that will actually turn out. But for now, everything here is free. What I don't know is how well they throttle you. I'm sure if you use it too much, they will eventually put a pause on your usage and tell you to come back later. But I have not run into that myself because I have not used it that heavily. But as a free option, it is... you can't argue with free, right? It's just the quality is not quite there. It's missing some big productivity tools like projects. And even though it has some fun little things for image and video generation, which, that it's hard to get that for free. So admittedly, that is a big plus. I would say the quality is not quite what you would get in other things, and it will show. And it's really meant for more of a social interaction kind of situation. So I personally would not use it unless they come out with something new that makes it infinitely better. I would use something a little bit more tailored for writers. The one that I personally use is Perplexity. It has a lot of good stuff going for it. If I could only pick one chatbot, it is the one that I would pick, but that's just my own personal preference. And I will be releasing a video in the near future that kind of compares everything and gives you my honest thoughts about which ones I think are best for what situation. Those are my thoughts on Meta. So I hope that was useful for you, and I'll see you in the next video.